Mike Rich is from Arkansas, and I've been Fort Smith. Sang there several times, and a servant of God, this brother. And he lost his wonderful wife. I knew them both very well. Wrote a beautiful song for her memory, and shared it here 3 years ago. Mike came to our Gatlinburg event, and him and Robert Nakamoto did the most amazing history skit at that event. Was amazing on Civil War history. It was nuts. It was awesome.
No, Revolutionary War.
Or Revolutionary War, yeah, let me get it right. Okay. Let's give a hand to Brother Mike.
You know, the theme seems to be we're going to have to press into the Lord even more, right? Especially with the way things are going in this country. I have a fish story today. Our theme is faith versus fear. Well, how can you get a fishing story out of that, or how can you get faith out of a fishing story? I'll show you. I guess I'll just get into it. I've got some posters here. These are my grandkids, and as they're posing, tornado sirens are going off. Yeah. I said, they said, Papa, when are you going to take us fishing? I said, when the conditions are right, I'll take you fishing. Well, I waited until I saw a front was coming, because you know, fish bite right before a storm. Wow. So, can you see that, Keith?
Yeah, I see it, man. That's a catch, brother.
Hey, he's got a big bluegill in his hand, too. So
does he ever?
Fish, you can't see.
Yes, you're not on the other side, brother.
Well, anyway, we were fishing, and of course, we caught these in an hour. Wow. And the storm was coming in, and I didn't know how bad it would be, but the sirens in the town near where we were started going off. And so the girls started saying, Papa, tornadoes coming. I said, maybe we can fish just a little longer. Oh, but Papa. I said, okay. Let's get the stringer out, and you guys get your tackle boxes. And I said, when you pose and you smile for me, then we'll go, okay? Now, we were at a rock quarry, and the cellar was up on top of the hill. We were down in the rock quarry. And I thought, we can make it to that cellar. No problem here.
Yeah.
So they smiled. I said, okay, grab the stuff, let's go. Okay, so they grabbed tackle boxes. I got the stringer. They had a net. Fish bait us, just leave the bait here, pour it out. So they did. And we started going up the hill. Well, at a town across the river, we were fishing near a river in a rock quarry. And so the river's about a half a mile wide. The sirens in that town across the river started going off. And I go, oh my gosh, no, Papa, it's coming right toward us. I said, no, let's go. So we started running up the hill, and I had not gauged the timing of the storm. It was coming in faster than I thought. And as it starts coming from our west, there's a tree line over there, and the trees start bending over. Oh, Papa, we're going to die. I said, no, we're not going to die. Come on, run. I mean, I looked back, and we were running along, and somebody had pushed the release button on their rod and reel, and the bait was dragging. And I go, just keep going. So, as we got almost to the top, we were in tall grass, struggling up through the hill, and so Lillian, our oldest one there, she goes, are we going to die, Papa? I said, no, just say Jesus. Just say Jesus. They all started saying Jesus. I said, keep running. Jesus. And I mean, the limbs were coming down off the trees. Leaves were coming down and plastering us. And I thought, wow, maybe I can flatten these kids out on the ground. I'll just cover them with my body. You know, I'll give my life for them. But we topped the hill, saw the cellar on the other side of the house up there. And I said, run for the cellar. Papa, we don't want to go in there. It's dark. There might be snakes and spiders. I said, we're going to the cellar. So we got to the cellar. We just dropped everything and ran down in there. So the next picture you see will be of the cellar. before I show it to you, I'm going to tell you. We opened it up, and it was wet in the bottom of the cellar. And this is just all in just a couple of seconds, you know. I said, get in there. Papa, there's spiders, there's snakes. I said, get in there. So I said, just stop at the bottom of the steps. They did. And I closed the door behind me. It was leaning, it was one of these slanting cellar doors.
Right.
And so I was just under it like this, and I could feel it on my back, and I could feel the storm hitting, you know, hail and wind and limbs. And they said, Papa, we want out of this dark place. I said, let me raise the door just a little bit and let you look out. So I did this, and so this picture is them looking out of the cellar door.
Wow. Wow.
Now, do you see Lillian's face?
Yeah.
What do you see?
Here.
Yeah. In back of her is her sister. You can't see her in this picture very well. But little DJ has a different look. What do you see in his face? Can you tell? Okay. What someone told me was, I see a prophet there. We didn't know it, but he was getting a word from the Lord right then. He used to hear, ever since he was young enough to talk to God, he started hearing from the Lord. Well, in this picture, we let them see I just let them see just for a couple seconds, and I lowered it. And he said, Papa, God just told me that this will all be over in one more minute.
Wow.
I said, okay, let's count, because I want them to have something to do. You know, I said, 60, 59, 58, got them all counting. And when we got to 1, 0, I said, let's look. Opened the door, and it was nothing but rain. All the wind, all the tornado, all the storm had passed over, and was gone.
Amen.
And so I said, now let's run for the truck, so we'll get wet. We ran for the truck, got in, and as we got in, one of the girls said to another, DJ hears from God a lot. She said, yeah, he does. Amen.
That's awesome.
Praise
Yeah.
God.
So,
That's awesome.
Love it, yes,
I've got that picture in my refrigerator, but we put something else over it. I had a brochure from Fort Knox, Sarah, and that's General Patton with his look of determination, and that's quite a bit what DJ looks like. So he's known as our little prophet in the family, and we keep the fear covered and the faith showing. Amen?
Wow, there you go. That's awesome.
All right.
So cool.
Well, thank you, Lord, for that.
Yes.
Well, what I wanted to say is, what are we going to do now? Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I tore my sleeve this morning. Don't let that bother you. I can't go back and change to another shirt. Okay. There was a lady with a dream here recently. I think it was Liberty Turnip Seed, Sarah. She had a dream, and she says about Hurricane Ida that just hit down in New Orleans. Okay. And she said this storm chaser had announced that he was going to try to breach the eye wall of the hurricane. Now, you know, there's the eye of the hurricane where it's calm, right? The eye wall is that band right around the eye that is the most powerful. It has all the wind, it generates it all. He said, I'm going to drive through it. He thought he had a car good enough. And so she was thinking, oh, this is foolhardy. Why would he do that? But she said that the dream ended right then. And God said to her, that's what I want my people to do. And the days are coming when I want them to go through that eye wall. I want them not to shirk back, not to be afraid, but to go through it. And I thought, Lord, I kind of know a little bit about that because, you know, we've had so many healing testimonies. For those of you who don't know, I was healed of cancer. When it came back on me the second time, the doctor says you got to have chemo or you're going to die. What he didn't say was you're going to die anyway. He just going to delay it a little longer. And I didn't do it. I just said, no, I'm going to do it God's way. And doing it God's way, I'm still alive today. I just quoted the healing scriptures. Hey, I used this little booklet, which they're free over there. Get you one if you haven't got it. And I just quoted the healing scriptures out of there and out of the Word, and God healed me. And just the tumors just started disappearing.
Thank you, Lord.
And I was alive.
Amen. Come on.
So, what He's wanting from us in these days is to press in closer to Him, to use whatever faith we have, and just settle it in our hearts. Hey, it makes no difference if we live or die. Because what I had said to the Lord was, Lord, I don't care if I live or die, I'm going to do this your way.
Yes.
And what did the 3 Hebrew children do? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Yeah.
They said, well, our God is able, O King, to deliver us. He's really able, but even if He chooses not to, we're not going to worship your idol. So they said, okay, if we have to die, fine, we're going to die for what's right. Daniel, same thing. I'll keep praying even though they put me in the lion's den. Right? So, in Jeremiah, I wrote in this Jeremiah 12:5 verse, this is the deal where God said, I'm going to destroy the people of the land. I'm going to send the young men into captivity and all this. And He says, Lord, your judgments are righteous, and surely I trust you. Of course I do. But I got a question or two here. He says, why don't you just deal with the wicked? And just, the rest of us can go free, right? He said, the Lord answered him and said this, if thou hast run with the footmen, and they have wearied thee, then how canst thou contend with the horses? I mean, what God was saying is, look, I want you to use every bit of faith you've got, and then call on me for the faith you don't have, and let's go forward. That's what He's saying, go through the eye wall. So, I heard a powerful man of God back in 1985. His name was Tommy Hawk. That was his actual name. He was from Reynoldsburg, Ohio. He came to our church in Fort Worth, Texas. And when he ministered at the end of the service, he imparted things on us. I was able to step outside the church back door, and I could look 100 yards away and see the veins in the leaves of the trees. I had supernatural vision.
Hallelujah.
My wife had to go work a shift at the hospital that afternoon. She said, honey, I went up there into the cardio ward, and she said, I looked over at the room and I knew death had been in that room. The spirit of death was hovering over that room.
Wow.
And they told her, they said, Brenda, would you like to prep that deceased man in that room? She goes, no, I'm not going in there. Now, I said, honey, you should have done it. She says, I know, but the thing is, the spirit of death was so strong, and she just wasn't at the place at that time to bind and cast out and all that stuff, So she just said, but my perception was that deep after that service this morning.
Wow.
That man said, there is a great deception coming
Yes.
in the world.
True.
Can you think of any great deception going on right now?
Absolutely. Right now.
Yeah. Well, this whole COVID thing fits that
Right.
deception. Because I've been looking for this deception. I thought, well, maybe it's some deceiving prophets or something. But I believe it's this COVID and vaccine thing that's going on. The deal is, on this vaccine, we say, what's it all about? How did it come, and why is it here? I mean, the vaccine part of it. The vaccine is more fearful than the disease itself, I believe. Top-ranked doctors and scientists say, look, this is a deadly poison. Do not let the media, do not let the politicians, do not let the government force you to take this. It's deadly. You'll die if you take this. Now, there's going to be hope for anybody who has taken it, or if you know some family members. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But the issue is that they're just not listening to the truth. It's the hype, it's the money, it's the political gain, and they're forcing it on us. Now, as Christians, we probably all know what this is about.
Right.
Don't you think you do?
Absolutely.
It's a little far out to tell to your secular friends, but you know, this is all part of the one world government that's being established. It is a part of depopulation of the earth, right?
Right.
I mean, has anybody heard of the Georgia Guidestones?
Oh, yeah.
What are they about, Emily?
There's like, what we call like commandments, but they talk about
Big granite.
the world to 2 million people or something.
Yeah.
I have 500 million. Yeah,
Okay, so you know about these. It says on there, after saying all these platitudes about, you know, we need to maintain Mother Earth in a good, healthy balance, blah, blah, blah. And they say we need to maintain the population of the earth at 500 million.
that's right, half a billion.
So how many people we got on the earth?
7 billion.
7.5 billion, so that means 7 billion have to die. So it's just a nice way on these Georgia so-called guidestones of saying we have to murder 7 billion people. How are you going to do that? These wars are not getting the job done.
Right.
How about we create a big hyped up fake virus that is worse than any other virus, which it's not. It's about equal with the flu. Why don't we do that and then push people toward this solution that we already have prepared? And that is a so-called vaccine, which really acts slowly in your system. I mean, people die immediately. A lot of people have died immediately.
Right. Awesome.
But it acts slowly, and so by the time we get everybody to take it, everybody still looks healthy, then they start dying off. That's what they want.
Right.
So, my son, who's a chief master sergeant at our base down in Fort Smith, he has said, Dad, I'm at the height of my career. I'm making, he told me the big money he was making. And he said, but they're mandating this. The Secretary of Defense says December 31st is our final deadline. I said, so what are you doing, son? He says, I'm going to apply for my religious exemption. If that doesn't work, he says, I'm resigning. I said, I'm very proud of you, son. That's a conviction. See, I tried to instill in my kids convictions, not just beliefs. Beliefs can be changed if the pressure gets a little hard,
Right.
if you're intimidated enough, if you're threatened enough. But if you have a conviction, that doesn't change.
Right.
Sister Romania, that doesn't change, does it? Okay.
Let's go.
My doctor called me the day before yesterday, and he's the one that's been feeding me a lot of the information about the virus and about the vaccine. And he says a pathologist called him and said, this is so frustrating. The clinic that this pathologist works for says you can't say this, you can't say that, or we'll terminate you. They can't tell the truth about
Right.
the vaccine or what it's causing people. So my doctor says I'm going to have to resign too.
Wow.
Resign the guys that he's working for.
So,
And he said, I might do something like a cash-only practice. He said, some doctors are talking about that, cash-only.
yeah.
He said, but even if not, he said, I just can't do it. God's just going to take care of us.
Right.
So we're going to have to stand firm.
Yeah.
We're going to have a,
Be a revolution.
this will have to be a conviction with us. I mean, it's going to be the same with me. Did you know that information has come out that they will soon prepare roadblocks? And you'll be stopped at the roadblock, checked for the vaccine, certification. If you don't have it, they'll offer it to you right there. You're going to take it, Lori? Do you know what they're going to do to you? They will impound your car, and you'll be taken off to an isolation center. They were known in Europe as concentration camps, by the way.
Yeah.
Are we willing to go that far?
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, we'll have to be. I mean, the end times have kind of crept up on us, haven't they? I believe what you said, Brother Keith. It's the end time. We're seeing the end. We're entering into maybe the first part of the tribulation or something.
Last days and end of time.
Yes. So, if we've run with the footman and we haven't made it, what are we going to do at the time of the horses, right?
All right.
Okay. So, I know this. My friend and I are ministering in a assisted living, and those people there were told you have to take the vaccine. And some of them protested, I don't have to. Then they would back off from those people, and so if people didn't want it, they would give it to them. But probably about 70% of them are vaccinated. We have a group bigger than this that comes to our Sunday afternoon gathering down there. And I had always gone up to them for years and hugged them and kissed them, and I don't change. I don't do anything different. I just say, Lord, I quote Psalm 91 every day. I memorized it. And I just say, Lord, your word is either true or you're a liar. Which is it? I know your word is true.
Yes.
He will protect me from pestilence, and from plague. He says it 3 times in that psalm. And I say, if I'm doing the Lord's work, I don't work.